Hey everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus, playing some Modern today, using a user's donated deck list. One of our regular viewers, Foz, is graciously donating to have his burn deck played in a competitive league. As a friendly reminder, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, please consider subscribing, giving us a thumbs up, and leaving a constructive comment down below. So, if you want to see your decks played, on the main channel, there is a donation deck link on the upper or the lower right-hand corner of. Good morning, Space Marine. How are you? Lower corner of the little Gatebreaker Ram thing here. Just click on that. Takes you to a PayPal link. We have a couple different donation options. You have the $5 to see your deck played in two-man queues or on Arena, if it is a standard deck. You also have the $8 Friendly League and the $12 Competitive League. Foz is one of our Patreon supporters, so he gets competitive leagues for $10. So this is a competitive league with his take on Boros burn, splashing some green cards on the sideboard. You kind of your usual fare in the main deck. The only real spice kind of in the main deck is a couple copies of Deflecting Palm. The most powerful cards in Modern Horizons. That's probably not a good thing then. Means there probably isn't many powerful cards in that set if that's considered one of the 10 most powerful cards in the set, Space Marine. Beyond that, you got a couple copies of Skullcrack, a couple copies of Lightning Helix, so 2-2 split on that. You have 3 Stirring Blazes, 2 Deflecting Palms. Beyond that, you have your normal creatures, Swift Spears, Goblin Guides, Eidolons, 4 Skewer the Critics, 4 Rift Bolts. Sideboard, 3 copies of Cindervine, which is something we've been running in our own list. He's got a couple copies of Atarka's Command here as additional Skullcracks 3 and 4. 3 copies of Path to Exile, deal with creatures, along with Ensnaring Bridges. Grafdigger's Cages, pretty important against the Neoform combo deck that's been popping up. Also still pretty decent against Dredge, buying you some time. Hopefully they won't find one of their Shatter effects. And then Surgical Extraction also for graveyard decks. And then a couple copies of Searing Blood for the smaller creature matchups. Foz, whenever you see this, one adjustment I did make to your mana base is I did add a 10th fetch land and cut an Inspiring Vantage. I prefer to have like one more fetch land to be able to go find our green source, especially in the sideboard games, so that was the only adjustment I really made. Beyond that, let us hop into a competitive league and get this rolling. So, I have high hopes for Modern Horizons, but it's sounding more and more like it's just like we're gonna add a bunch of borderline playable cards and hope something sticks, which is probably not where you want your new cards coming into Modern to be. Sure, opponent good luck here. This hand's a rough one. Still think we keep it because of double Swift Spear, but this does feel like a hand that could go sideways real quick. Seriously? How many freaking Pox decks are we going to play? You're going to switch to the 1/4 bat Space Marine that nobody in our area plays? Sounds good. Alright, so they're going to try to Field of Ruin us off of nonsense here. So our opponent just like black-white pox, or are they just like some type of weird amalgamation deck here? Lingering Souls? Yep. Didn't even need to fetch there, but hopefully that'll prompt the concession, considering our opponent knows our hand here. Cards do we even want against a Pox-like deck? It could just be black-white tokens with a terrible start. I don't know. Confidant, Urborg, there's a lot of weirdness going on over there. Don't really want a Tarkus command because they have Field of Ruins. This is a tough one because our opponent's like playing. There's a lot of different variants our opponent could be playing on here, and that really hinges on what we should bring in. They could have like Leyline of Sanctity. I don't know Nassif's sewer deck, so to be honest, there's so much Magic content out there, Space Marine, it's impossible to keep up with everything. If that is, in fact, even what it is, so. Kembal's a terribly annoying card. Probably should have boarded out Deflecting Palm against the Lingering Souls token deck. Just saying. Confirmed, it's just a terrible tokens deck. Gotcha. Now that we know what we're up against. So, get these deflecting palms out of my deck, get these searing blazes back in. Do I want to bring in something like Ensnaring Bridge? I don't think on the play I do. Bring in Blaze because it's got a lot more targets than I figured. Man, this hand is terrible. This hand's better. Depends on how many times they discard spells. Planes, that's moderately annoying. Tidal Sculler is an annoying card. Their deck's just full of annoying crap, it looks like. Shambling Vent's gonna be a real problem here. That's annoying. Really wanted to wish my opponent good games, but I don't know. Some reason the discard decks just kind of leave me salty playing against them. Especially since I know in the grand scheme of the format, they're not all that good. I mean, they're fine, they win games, but it's like as soon as they see an Urzatron, they have no prayer, so... Yeah, some type of mirror match, possibly. Could be Phoenix, I guess. Still could be any number of things. It's Phoenix. Which one do you bolt, friend? Oh, fancy burst lightning you got there. I mean, Pox is whatever. Like, or 8 rack, however you want to call it. 10 rack. A couple people at ICG play it. I mean, it's fine. It's just like so incredibly what's the word I'm looking for? Gut shot. Okay. Really need to draw lands is what we really need to draw here. Opponent could cast a Bedlam Reveler here, potentially. Like, we're seeing both Burn and Phoenix here kind of operate on, like, Bolt to the face seems ambitious. So 3 cards in hand, these could easily kill us. So I really hate splitting my game plan here. Searing Blazes without a land, kind of annoying. Could very easily die here. Definitely want the 3 copies of Cinder Vines for purposes of dealing with Dragon's Claw and making their spells far more expensive. Deflecting Palm, probably not where we want to be in this. Well, Skullcracks can come out. Don't really play well with Dragon's Claw, so no sense in having them in the deck right now. Then so I could bring in Pass. I could bring in Searing Bloods. Bridge shuts down their bigger creatures in the late game. Just trying to think what cards. Bring in Bloods. Trying to hedge around both playing around Blood Moon and still like interacting with their creatures as much as possible. It's a pretty easy mulligan. This hand's fine. Sign me up for an Eidolon. Suspend the Rift Bolts. Basically the same as Lightning Bolting their dude, other than if they happen to have Swift Spear, would take 1 more damage than we would. Yeah, Forked Bolt, sure, whatever. You want to bolt my face? That's cool. That's the old, question is, do I play Eidolon or Cindervines out first? I feel like I want to play Cindervines out first, just to avoid them being able to bolt a dude and they're still going to take damage off their spells, but Eidolon has the higher ceiling. It's actually kind of a tough decision here. Opponent's like, okay. Like, yep, just play the Cindervines against your friend. Real Mountain. Isn't Magic a fun game? Probably should just attack with this first because they were probably going to block anyway. Sure. So don't be surprised if they bring in Blood Moon against me this game. I still think I'd rather have all these cards than what's currently in my sideboard. There are a lot of things that can beat Phoenix Space Marine, including a well-built blue-white deck. It's alright, I think you'll get a trip out of Foz's take on blue-white. The Staring Bridge is a necessary evil. Obviously, they just showed us a braid, so they're kind of prepared for the possibility of an Ensnaring Bridge. But often their braids are taxed, killing our creatures in addition to our other spells. So I do like their use of Forked Bolt and Burst Lightning though over some of the Shard Volley stuff we've been seeing over time. Hey, hey, hey. Gang's all here. Unfortunately, being on the draw is gonna... I don't know. Sometime in the next 2 days. The only reason I don't like, playing competitive leagues is they kind of incinerate tickets. So, I'm not going to bank on my opponent having Gut Shot in their deck. In fact, I'm not even going to play around it. I'm just going to try to kill your dude, and if you have Gut Shot, you have Gut Shot. I was thinking about going to an MCQ in Pittsburgh tomorrow, but I don't know. I just don't want to do it. Really love to draw another bold effect here. We're very, very likely to lose this race, and leaving this back doesn't doesn't really do any good right now, so... Mythic Championship Qualifier, the replacement for the Pro Tour qualifiers. Instead of the PPTQ system, it is a one shot. You win the event, you get the invite to the Pro Tour. Standard. At least the ones in paper are in standard. There's one online tomorrow that's War of the Spark sealed. Going straight face. I mean, there's a very good chance we're just dead next turn, but... that is a lot of Soulscar mages. I don't even know why they played those guys. They just had us... I guess they're playing around us having a bolt or something. See, this has just been Magic of late. Like, I don't know. Moderns felt very... like, that matchup was close. It was really, really close. Chalice has sent you a message. Back in the set. Opponent just messaged... my previous opponent just messaging me that, yeah, I'm probably not going down anyway, Space Marine. I've been debating it, like, last night and today, and it's just like... to me... no, it's not a question of boring, uninteresting, dull. Opponent is asking me to do a lot of thinking over there. Pretty sure this hand's a keep, but it is kind of... active player goes on stack, then inactive. Seriously? Okay. So it looks like we're playing against Mill, potentially? Alright, so we're gonna get milled. My question is, mill opponent, where did the... Where did the burn player touch you? Opponent's got crabs. I just screwed up there. Had a chance to prevent them from gaining a life. Are they going to attempt to surgical us? Looked like they were considering surgicaling us. Goodbye, Mr. Krabs. He basically wanted to know how the interaction between breaking and entering. The interaction between Dragon's Claw, Cinder Vines, and if you were at 1 life with a spell. Which isn't relevant because they're going to be able to trigger Archive Trap here. That's kind of annoying. Mill is pretty good against a lot of the format. Unfortunately, Burn is not one of them. Doesn't matter. So we know they have, what, Archive Trap and Breaking in their hand right now? I think I still have a mountain in my deck to go fetch. So, Stomping Ground. Opponent's hoping to hit creatures here, I guess. Just really flippin' annoying. Shiminy Christmas. Losing to turn 1 Profane Memento out of a deck that's traditionally a pretty good matchup for burn really kind of sucks. Where did the burn player touch you, my friend? Because obviously... Deflecting Pollen is probably the card we want to get rid of here. Definitely want the Cinder Vines. I don't know if I really want a I mean, potentially we want a Tarka's Command here, but the problem becomes... Alright, good luck, man. Deck really needs to draw another land. I'm not even going to comment about the absurdness of leaving in extraction effects against burn, but whatever. What's up, Space Marine? Or War Dog, sorry. Space Marine just left. Been a very bizarre league. Like, we lost game 1 of this match to Profane Memento being in our opponent's main deck. Yeah, that would be a little rough. I did ask my opponent, like, very nicely why on earth they'd play... Why they would still have extra paid in against me post-board. 0-2. Lost to black-white tokens and a really close matchup to Mono Red Phoenix. And this matchup seems to come down to if they have Profane Memento or not. Which is really good. I will give this opponent that's really good tech against burn and creature decks. I'm not going to sit here and argue like the value of Profane Memento, but like leaving in surgical effects against burn, unless you like really have nothing else, yeah, like that's really flippin' annoying. Yeah, of course you have Archive Trap, sure. Gain 2 life. Seriously? Explains why they kept a 1-land terrible hand. Just gonna leave Cinder Vines in play for the moment. This card makes this matchup a lot closer than some of the other nonsense. I don't miss it at all. Wait, even if they had a kill spell for this, they're dead through Profane Memento? So how are you doing this morning, War Dog, besides probably hungover? Apparently Space Marine out of date. He said brunch date. So, guess that's one way to get him out motivated in the morning is a potential girlfriend. This hand is terrible. To me, terrible burn hands are ones with 4 lands, 3 spells. Sounds pretty good. I'm really tired of seeing the card swamp into discard spell. That's like my normal day at work, man. So, rock. Just happen to lead on basic swamp. Sure. I mean, you already know the cards in our hand. You know what your thought's using. Probably Eidolon. I don't crack my fetch land. I think I just play a land and pass. Way I can hold up Searing Blaze potentially on their turn if they play like a Tireless Tracker or something here. Or even if they try to activate Treetop Village. Instead, they're just going to cast a Liana and... Yep. These are the kind of games that the Rock matchup feels really, really bad. Kind of weird to have a bachelor's party in the middle of the week, isn't it, man? I mean, I guess if we theoretically hit runner, 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 we could win. But it has to be pretty much burn spells. Like, Liliana's ult at this point doesn't really do much. It's just, if they rip another threat, we're in a lot of trouble. And neither player is drawing particularly well, but they have Treetop Village as a threat. Meanwhile, we're just kind of hoping and wishing and praying here. Yeah, that's the game. We're no longer at a point where we can win the game, so. Presuming our opponent is moderately competent, which they have not given us any reason to suspect otherwise. And 3 pass, do that. Not going to bring in a Tarka's Command. They have Field of Ruins and Assassin's Trophies, just not worth bringing in. A couple of green cards to expose my stomping grounds for no good reason. That's one of the prices you pay for the green splash is matchups like this where you'd want to bring in a Tarka's Command. You really can't afford to because they'll attack your mana. Rock is... It's a close matchup, but I still think Rock is favored. And this is a hand we gotta keep, right? How's everybody doing this morning? Did they leave a card on top? Nope, on bottom. Well, we gotta end the game by turn 4. Through disruption. Gonna be fun. So... Life gain prevention or keeping us from double spelling next turn? I guess it's keep us from double spelling. It's a pretty good answer to Kalidas if they don't have another discard spell. So, the card to play around here is Skullcrack. Or not Skullcrack. Collective Brutality, hence why I'm leaving up Skullcrack rather than casting Riftbolt. Oh, literal friend of yours? So how should I let him know you're watching? Oh, okay. Kalidas, gotcha. I thought you actually knew the player playing the deck. My bad. See, I don't care about my opponent gaining 1 life here. So they thought that was going to draw up my path to exile. They're kind of sorely mistaken. Leaving the other land card in my hand to be able to play around Liliana. I mean, if we rip a Boros Charm, the game's over, fortunately. Well, not over, but... Once again, none of these cards matter. Like, Burn Spell off the top still kills them. I guess if they had, like, Brutality into activate Scoos. But there's only one creature in the yard, so... Like, they're trying to finagle us to path their dudes and being able to resolve Kalidas. Assassin's Trophy, my white source. Now they can't cast Kalidas this turn, so... Guess if they have a Liliana to follow up, this could be problematic if we top deck one of our white cards in our deck. Alright, Field of Ruin, sure. Alright, one more match. So we showed them the green source, even though we don't have any green cards in our hand, just to make them think that that's something that actually matters. Even though in the grand scheme of things it really doesn't one way or the other. There's a small part of me that wonders if I shouldn't have Searing Blazes in our deck, but they can just blank the cards so easily. It's kind of annoying. Pretty easy mulligan against them. So this is really absurd. Like, if we go to 5, we're not winning this match anyway. Do I do I keep a no-lander and pray in the top 2 cards of my library there's a land? Like, if this is a friendly league, I would just YOLO and, like, keep, like, no lander and pray. But this is, like, the thing that knocks us out of prize for this league, so. I mean, let's roll it. Top card's gotta be a land. Skill game! I still don't think we're in good shape, but... I think I just play around brutality here. Like, if they have push, they have push. It's whatever. Of course their 6-card hand has, like, every answer they could possibly want, right? Liliana is going to be brutal. If they have it, of course. Alright, Tarmogoyf, sure. Absolutely not playing that card. Does no good right now. It only gives them something for their Goyf to chomp. Like, seriously, Wardog, if they would have had discard spell into Fatal Push into Liliana there, I don't even know what I would have done. Like, we're already going to lose this race badly, so... At least would allow us to rip Boros Charm for a win. Boros Charm, Path, or Deflecting Palm all would be pretty decent draws here. They have Fatal Push, we're dead. Well, okay. As long as they fire up their Hissing Quagmire, we're dead. I mean, I know that's an extremely difficult decision to kill your burn opponent when you have lethal on board, but... Alright. Just want to thank everybody for hanging out this morning. My name is John, here on MTG Nexus, or used to be Dusk on Dusk Till Dawn Gaming, playing a donation deck list from Foz, one of many. He's been giving us a very generous donation to play several deck lists. We're playing his take on Boros Burn. Unfortunately, we've been running into a lot of very grindy, difficult matchups this morning, so it's not been the best performance, but that's no reflection on his deck list. That's just the nature of Burn. Discard spells into clock has always been a way to beat Burn, and we've faced that type of matchup twice. Now you don't seem bald anymore. Thanks, Jan. I thought Space Marine was the one that had the Kool-Aid Man entrances. I'm balding severely. It's just a fact of life. But, anyways, one special thanks to Foz for donating to see his list played. The only real true innovation in this list is a couple deflecting palms on the main, which is tech I've seen before out of what's his name over on Nikachu. Day 2 Dryden I've seen play deflecting palm in his deck at various points. I kind of like his sideboard, other than I'm not really sure about the Atarka's commands. I guess they're kind of a slightly upgraded version of Skullcracks if you wanted to run Skullcracks 3 and 4 in your deck list. I mean, we've played against 2 discard spell decks, we've played against Mill, and we've played against Mono Red Phoenix. So we've had a lot of really close matchups. Wizards hasn't said anything about it one way or the other, so we don't know, is the only answer I can give. I think they're having to wait to if I want to give Wizards credit, which that's debatable sometimes, I think they might be doing playtesting with Modern and Legacy a little bit more to see what cards they would potentially have to ban. See, Legacy isn't quite as much of a problem because a lot of those busted card decks, Leyline the Void or Force of Will, keep in check. So the control decks can just as quickly look for those cards as the busted decks can look for their busted things. So I think the problem's more Modern, especially with this Vanafear, Neoform, whatever nonsense combo. Deck is popping up. This hand's a pretty easy keep. It's probably Phoenix. Gonna guess on Scolding turn. Could be some style of control deck. You're sitting here talking about how you don't like busted combo stuff, and yet you're talking about how a busted combo thing is seeing play. Er? So the deck. So let me get this straight. The format in which has answers to the busted combo stuff you're annoyed with, but the format that doesn't have answers to the busted combo stuff you'd rather didn't exist. Okay. You're a weird one sometimes, Jen. How have you been, by the way? Haven't seen you in ton in chat lately. How are things over there? So we're just presuming they're on Phoenix and they're having like a terrible start, or is this like a control deck that's like... Okay, so it's a control deck. Cool. Let them cast their opt, and then kill them. I mean, we all go through ebbs and flows, man. Alright, so... Blue Moon, I'm gonna guess. So, we want to bring in Cinder Vines. Probably want to go down Searing Blazes. Other cards do we want to bring in? Like, I can bring in the Tarkus commands, but we risk getting hit by Blood Moon, so, I mean, I guess, but that's probably the next best card. Yeah, we all go through ebbs and flows in Magic. That's why I'm, like, really careful about, taking a more measured approach to Magic. So... Don't think we can keep the 4-lander. Immediately mulligan to 5. This Goblin God's probably gonna die, but we gotta play it anyway. Come, little goblin guy, get us like 10 damage. Oh, wait, you have a lightning bolt. Shocker. It's one of those really ho-hum kind of leagues, you know? Um, Jace, Welder of Mysteries. Interesting. Combo piece. Mirror of Fate. I guess, Jan, like... Alright, there's a goblin god. Like, I think you could, like, take 2 or 3 months off of, like, Modern or Legacy, you know, and within a week or two probably be back, pretty much caught back up to speed. I think it's much more, alright, so we're gonna get clicked here. I think we have to try to bolt empty our hand here. Alright, well. I think the mulligan to 4 kind of kept us from having a chance here. What on earth does Mirror of Fate do? Choose up to 7 face-up exiled cards you own. Exile all cards from your library. Still don't get how that works, but whatever. Yep, that's fine. Oh, okay, that's kind of like their... It's kind of their kill con. Well, yeah, Jan, but the games are... The match is already, like, literally decided. Like, I'm literally playing so my opponent gets reps in and to play a full 5 matches with Foz's donation deck. And my opponent wanted me to show me their combo. Now they get to win the game. Alright. I mean, we could bring in cages and nonsense. May the burn gods smile upon you. Lots of laughs. Not so much today. Lots of IOK decks. So I'd love to play first. Sounds fine. It's not exciting, but it does what we want it to do. I think this is Foz's more competitive version of Burn as opposed to his claim to fame deck. The big difference is he's running deflecting palms in the main, and he's also running cages in the sideboard now, which I hadn't upgraded to yet. Just kind of a necessary evil for that stupid Neoform combo deck. I'm gonna get hit by a Spell Snare. Okay. No Spell Snare. Good to know. Hopefully this is like Ambush Viper. Well, something's dying next turn. So now our opponent has a bolt. Sure, they're willingly going to 8. Punished for the way I fetched because I forgot to I had brought in Cinder Vines. Yeah, pretty much derp. Really big. Derp, 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 derp. Is this going to be Cryptic Command, counter your spell, tap your team? Definitely feels like it. Gotta wait for the spell to go on the stack, friend. Vendilion Click. Targeting me. Sure. Gotta take Skewer the Critics here. Give me a Monastery Swizzle Spear. So we do that, and then basically we would kill them. We'd play Cinder Vines, and then attack them with two power guys that can only block one, even if they play a spell. I guess theoretically, if they have Bolt here, they would be okay. They'd go to 1, but then they couldn't play another spell the rest of the game. So I scooped to them because we're in a competitive league. once you've had 2 losses, you're eliminated from prizing. So there was no reason to, like, jam our opponent out of a win there when we're already basically eliminated. So, thoughts on the list? Yeah, it was all... We played against Mono Red Phoenix. That was a close matchup. And then we played against 2 Inquisition of Kozilek decks, which are basically the worst matchup. We played against black-white tokens that had like a ton of like Tide Hollow Scholars, Inquisition of Kozileks. Couldn't rip enough burn spells off the top to kill them. Rock is just a rough matchup. And Phoenix was a close matchup that just first and third games didn't break the right way. So, I mean, this has kind of been like burned for me lately. It's been really close, like a lot of 50-50, like 3-game matchups that could, you know, if you top deck the right way, would be a win. So, been a lot of really close matchups with burn of late. The only thing, like, I made a slight adjustment to Fozz's mana base by adding another fetch land to our deck, as opposed to the 4th Inspiring Vantage. The only thing I would say about the deck is, like, Deflecting Palm in the main's fine, especially if you have, like, a lot of creatures in your meta, is I like Atarka's Command, I really do, but I really think it's really pushing the mana base to have 2 green splash cards in your sideboard with only the 1 Stomping Ground. So, I honestly think those Atarka's commands should just be Skullcracks if you want the Skullcrack effect. But beyond that, I mean, the rest of the list I can kind of get behind. The split on Cage and Surgical makes sense. The Staring Bridge is still a reasonable card in certain matchups, although I think Foz said he replaced those. But overall, want to thank Foz for the donation to see his burn list in action. Wish we could have gotten at least another win for you, at least. But, yeah, deck seems pretty close to stock, with a little bit of twists with the Deflecting Palms and the Atarka's commands. We really didn't see in the matchups where Grafdigger's Cage and Surgical would have come in. And beyond that, the rest of the list isn't too terribly different from the stock-ish list we normally play. So, good job for Foz on the deck building. Thanks for the donation, man, and wish we could have gotten a better result for you. Anyways, thanks for hanging out, Jan, and everybody else this morning. This has been John for MTG Nexus. Hope everybody has a great day.